Trial Point 10th grade World History Class Debate. Athens vs. Sparta. November 13th, 2020.
Okay, are you guys ready?
Sure.
Alright, so we'll do the number thing. So you have to pick somebody over here to
I delegate Matt as the captain.
I agree.
Okay. So I am thinking of a number between 1 and 15. Go ahead. Just yell your number out at the same time.
10. So.
It was 13. Okay, so you guys are Sparta. Okay?
No pressure.
This is our order. So what we're gonna do is you guys will do your opening statements, taking turns, right? And then your arguments 4. You're gonna do them all at the same time. You should have 3, right? If you take a look at your paper. And so Sparta, you will just go through your arguments about why your city-state is the best, okay? And then Athens will have a chance to explain why their city-state is the best. Argument against. So Sparta will go first, and they will argue one of your, if you take a look at your little paper here, step 3, crush your opponent, right? So argument against your opponent. So that's where you are going to have an argument against Athens, and Athens will have a chance for a rebuttal. Then you guys decided yesterday that you want to flip-flop that process. So then you will have a chance to do your argument against. Does everybody have 3 arguments against their opponent?
I have one.
Okay? And then we'll have a chance for closing statements, Sparta, and then Athens. Okay? Guys ready? Go ahead, Sparta. Opening statement.
I'm a Spartan. Yeah, we are the best city-state. We are really strong when we're together, but we're not bound by any sort of society because we make our own society, which is great. And yeah, we are Spartan. Alright.
How about being 10?
I am representing a free woman of Athens. Athens is located in western Greece near the eastern coast. Athens is the most advanced Greek city-state because of their mathematics, booming economy with trade, writing, philosophy, drama, and others such as that.
Okay. All right, opening statement, done. Sparta, are you ready to explain why you are, in fact, the best city-state?
Sure.
All right, who's going? What's that?
Sarah would because she's more ready than I am.
Okay, we educate everybody. It might not be the education that everyone else has. We are known for our strengths, you are known for your knowledge, but knowledge can only get you so far. If you're not strong enough to withstand the storm will overtake you. We educate our women, and we educate our children, and we of course educate our men in war so that we can protect each other. So, do more.
That's up to you. Remember, you've got 3 arguments and you've got teammates. So, does anybody have anything to share?
Yes.
Go.
We are brave and we were willing to send out 300 of our soldiers to sacrifice themselves against the Persians, and you sent no troops at all.
Are you guys done with your free statement?
Okay. We get things done in our political area. We have a system, and it's really strong, and we're able to just step and we can decide really well. And push harder. That's it.
Do you want to explain how you get things done, kind of what your system is like?
We have 2 kings, but even though they are kings, they're overruled by the 5 Ephers.
Ethers, yeah.
And it's really easy because there's a small amount of people. And even though it might not be for everyone, it's faster to be able to decide things.
Alright, I think it is my time on the floor. So, Athens has a highly progressive system of government called democracy, or ecclesia, as they call it. They would gather at least 6,000 voters, and they would vote and pass laws. This laid the foundation for governments even today. They did what no other people succeeded to do previously before. Without Athens, much of Greek culture and language and religion would be lost. Athens wrote down many important details for the future generations. This legacy that Athens left gave us important starting steps of many different things that we do today. One example is architecture. The example that Athens set with architecture is copied by the Romans, which is further copied by us in today. And you can see minor details that have traveled all the way to here. Athens is a beacon of hope and joy. They show that you don't need to steal, rob, and corrupt to have a successful, a unified people. That concludes my
Arguments for. Okay. Does anybody have anything to add? Okay, Sparta. What is your argument, or what is a argument that you have against Athens? Spartan Elias. Should have had you guys dress
I
up.
don't know. Sorry. Looked at the wrong one. Spartan rulers were not like always caught up in internal conflict like the Athenian government was. There was no ostracism or people getting ostracized for their beliefs because we did not have a stupid system of voting people out of our government.
I actually see that as an opposite. Because when you don't ostracize and you don't have these checks and balances that the Athenian government set up, you have easy corruption. Just one person between you and half of your whole system of government is easily corrupted.
Very good. Athens?
Sparta relied heavily on the Helots to even survive. Opposingly, Athens' major income was trade, which is way more used.
So your argument against Sparta is that they used the Helots.
They used the Helots for their farming, which is one of the only ways that they survived, through farming and raiding.
What might be some of the problems? Like, why would that be then an argument against?
It is inhumane, and it is not fair and just.
Sparta rebuttal?
We conquered them. It doesn't have to be fair and just. We're better than them.
But it is also inhumane.
Yes, but that's the times back then. And now.
But just because something was then before doesn't mean that you need it to be then, because just as Athens showed that you can be progressive in that time without having to follow the standards of that time.
But that's not what Sparta was. Sure, we used the
thing is, if we did not control the Helots and have them do the farming, they would try to overthrow us. So in a way, us enslaving them is also protecting our people and all the cultures that we have in Sparta.
But where do you draw the line between these people are better than these people? So that you should protect these people over these people?
In a way, we're both equal but the only reason why we are controlling them is because they will wipe us. They have more people.
And,
Go ahead.
and if the Helots overthrow us, then it's going to be inhumane for us.
Either way, it's inhumane.
We can't stop it.
Not
Society's
necessarily
gonna-
true though.
Okay, let's move on to argument number 2. So, Sparta, do you have another argument against Athens?
Going back to my previous statement and kind of building off of what I said from your government, you can't get a lot done. It's like, I mean, you can, but you have so many people that it's so much internal conflict. You have like 6,000 people, they're not all going to want the same thing. So when they all vote, it's going to be like some people want this and some people want this, but then there's going to be possibly rioting or other repercussions for people who want things but want a lot of power, but they can't have power. So they have to deal with it and try to get things their own way, and that doesn't go well.
Yet again, as I said before, I believe that it is much, much easier for one king to believe in something and everybody else for them to opposite than for the majority of Athens people's representatives
Yes,
to have something compared to the majority, so it would be more people than them.
the Spartan kings did what was best for their people. If their people didn't like what the Spartan kings said, they could have rebelled.
What they believed, the Spartans king did what they believed was best.
Yeah,
Not
and the
that it
Spartan
was
people were
necessary.
obviously fine with that because they never did anything about it.
Well, just because you repress them and they never did anything doesn't mean that they didn't think that it was always the right choice.
But the Spartan people were the army, so if they didn't like what the king was doing, the king didn't have control of the army then. So they obviously revolted if they really wanted to. You can't really repress an army.
No, you can repress an army if people feel like they can't let their opinions be open without being persecuted, then they won't share their opinions and they'll just go along with the way of repressing.
But you don't
Same
know
as
that.
communists and other governments before. People didn't stand up because they didn't feel like they could.
Well, you don't know that's what happened.
No, but that is
might have
proven
been.
in previous governments like communists that if someone is repressed, they won't share their opinions and they won't share how they feel, just as probably in Sparta.
So you're saying that all kings repress their people?
No, but it's much easier and much more likely that a king will repress something than a government like democracy.
But the Athenians can repress themselves by having multiple people. They go against each other.
Well, yes, but it's the majority and more people and the overall spectrum, it'll be better because
So if the majority rules something, then they're repressing the minority. You don't want that thing.
but the likelihood of a majority and well, because it's not like that it was like two separate groups of people, like a majority people and a minor people. It was the same type of people, and they just thought differently. And they might be something like they might think it was for this certain law, and this other law they'll be switching on sides. So it's not like they can take sides and vote against the other people and
Yeah.
ostracize it.
But it's still, they don't get what they want. And it's the same as the Spartan people. But worse because there's more of them and more sides.
No, it's worse for your side because there's more people that could be unhappy.
But there's more people who could be unhappy, but they can actually do something about it. The other ones, if they're unhappy, they have to fight each other.
You can do anything, but
Otherwise,
it's not
it's
like
just one
you will
people
if you're
king,
being
they want king.
repressed. You won't do anything if you're being repressed, or it's unlikely that you'll do anything because you'll see that your personal gain is at risk.
But the thing about democracy is that you get two sides. That means you're more likely to war. So if one side says, I don't like this, and the other side says, well, I don't like it either, or I like this, then they're going to clearly fight. And if they fight, that means that your cities are probably going to separate, which is also what Greek city-states have done. Athenians and Spartans, they're kind of like the democracy that you're talking about. They've separated and started fighting because they believe two war is good, not good, but like fighting is good. Athenians believe that knowledge is better. Therefore, it's like the democracy that you're talking about. They have separated and they started fighting.
But the thing is that it's not. It's more beneficial for something to be split in something that they believe than to be dragged along in something that they're forced to do.
Not necessarily. Because if your people have, like, democracy can also mean that people get drowned out. We see it today. People who believe the right thing, you can get drowned out. But if you have a king, then you can, a lot of times, you can talk to the king and he's more open to listen to everyone's views, which means he might be able to get a compromise for everybody. But democracy, no one gets a compromise except for those who win.
That's not true. But all of democracy makes it so that compromises are easier. And no government system is perfect. There is going to be faults in every single government system that humans make. And that's just what you have to do. You have to pick the more reliable systems and less easy to corrupt governments, where kings are just very easy to corrupt. And if someone is just a hard heart and they don't want to do anything, then they can just unruly, just completely change anything, and nobody can say anything about it.
I think it's way easier for the Athenians to be corrupted through money because you can pay off more people, so the richer you are, the more influence you have.
But that didn't happen because if people knew that this was happening, they would ostracize the person and kick them out.
But it doesn't, they don't have to know. You can just pay someone and nobody has to find out.
But
It's not like people find out.
But to pay someone and to actually have it
try
work,
to do stuff.
to actually have it work in the law, you'd have to pay many, many people because it's a majority of people, which is a lot safer than such a king or someone that you can pay one time and they don't even have to carry.
They elect a certain amount, like that certain 100 or something that decides on the rules that they get. So all they have to do is get the majority of people to actually say these are the rules we want to vote on, and then they get the rules they want.
No, just because they ask the majority of people what the rule is doesn't mean the rule pass.
30 more seconds for this one, guys.
They probably will if they get the majority of the
Majority of the council members or majority of the 6,000?
the majority of the council members, and then they can influence the 6,000 by paying them. And yes, it would take a lot of money, but
You can also take
And
out.
more of what they want.
first, if you like, they're not like,
Well,
no, but
Yes.
what I mean.
The poor people were.
Okay, time's up here for this one. I'm gonna be your moderator here. Okay, good arguments. Let's move on. So Athens, your second argument against Sparta.
The Spartans' youth was military brainwashed to kill and destroy. Everyone in Sparta was honored to be soulless and heartless. They were slowly corrupting everyone until the people wouldn't let it stand for any longer, which was the reason for Sparta's eventual defeat.
Rebuttal?
We had no need for education. The duty of the people, the men, was to protect the city and protect the surrounding city-states in Peloponnesian League. They were to protect it, not to do philosophy, writing, art, and other crap like that. It was to protect the city.
Well, the thing is, though, is that I was saying that the Spartan youth was over and above. I think that certain military training is good and I have no problem with that. There is no problem with that. But when you go over and above and honor people for being completely soulless and heartless is where you draw. Where's where I draw the line.
Okay, they weren't really soulless. They loved people and they cared about their country. They had unity and they had patriotism. And
Another
But
thing
it's-
is with the, sorry.
Explain, though, why, in the end, and the reason for Sparta's defeat was because the people in the Corinth War were over, they were just done with the corrupt and for just the way that the Spartans lived, because
things change, people change. So yes, it was a good way to have it during the Peloponnesian War, but it might not have been the best way to handle it during the Cold War.
The other thing is, what if you only ever knew that? What if you only ever knew war? Then clearly the kids aren't brainwashed, it's just they grew up in that. It's like, my dad's a pastor, and I grew up in the church. So all I know is going to church. When I don't go to church, it feels really weird. It's kind of like that. They grew up in a war place, and that's okay, because their parents are protecting them, so it's not like they're in danger. And that's what they knew. If you change what they know, and as they evolved, they probably decided, I don't really like this so much. So they changed. But those kids that were in that word, Legion War, then that's all they knew. So that's why they fought. And they weren't brainwashed.
But the thing is that is brainwashing, because if someone chooses to have someone just to learn this thing and this thing particularly, then they're just all they're gonna know is war and fighting. But if you expose them to the true reality of life, then they're gonna realize that war and blood and lust are not what you should be striving for, because they're very temporary. They're fading and they're not gonna last.
Okay, but you said the country brainwashed them. But if that's true, then you could say that about anything or what the country believed. Like the Athenians brainwashed their citizens to want to learn knowledge and all that stuff. It's just their culture. It's a culture. It's not brainwashing. It's a culture.
No, but I mean exclusively. They were
Okay, yeah.
exclusively
They
about war.
we required kids to be trained, but like we let them do things after they're able to, and we let them have families, and we let them
Families that they wouldn't be able to even live with most of the time, where they're just stuck in the barracks.
well after 30 days.
It's just like the military here.
Which is unlikely that they would even survive to 30 with all your rigorous training and ways that you would just test them, which would mostly end up in death.
But it's like the military here. The military here, we train our people, and a lot of times they leave at 18 sometimes, and they get married. They won't see their family for a while. That's just how it was then. It's just they had a little bit more stricter rules, but it's kind of like the Marines. I've known of many people that went to the Marines and they had to quit because it was so difficult. It's just the way that war is. When you have to train, it's either you train hard or you die in battle.
The difference is that in America and with democracy, you have a choice. And if someone like you described can't handle it, then they would be put to death. Now they would be able to live and work for other things that are worthwhile, and just in the Spartans' point of view, it completely works.
Well, they could visit their army.
They could.
Which would make them,
But also
if the
all-
Spartans got handled them, they would die. If the Spartan government got them back, they would die.
But the only way that they learned to withstand the war was their way of, I don't know what it's called, but what they always said was, be victorious or die in battle. But that's what they knew. That's just their culture, like you said. They weren't brainwashed, that's what their culture was. They learned that. And that is fine. It's just, they had to learn that in training. And some people might have not lived through training, but that was just a sacrifice that needed to be made. That's okay.
But Athens proved that that's not necessary. Athens proved that you can have a multi-thing where you can have military, and you can have architecture, and you can have mathematics, and you can still be completely dominant of all of this.
No, because they lost.
You
They
lost.
didn't win. They
They-
didn't win.
they
the
might.
fight. Their army got.
They might have lost the
destroyed.
Peloponnesian War, which was not Sparta versus Athens. It was Persia, Thebes, Corinth, and Sparta versus Athens and its much smaller allies. And
Persia just gave us money.
but after the Peloponnesian War, Athens wasn't completely destroyed. They grew up to be a prosperous city-state, unlike Sparta, which had an eventual defeat.
Yes, but they
30
decayed,
seconds.
they decayed through years of war because their army couldn't handle it. Their city got battered.
And you
Which
guys
they
did.
rebuilt.
And your
It's
city
so
state,
bad.
you guys pretty much wiped each other out almost because you just were too scared to fight us. The thing was, the 300 were up here, but the other army was way back here. You could have fought us and then gone to these people.
That is a strategic move. If you are fighting someone with a knife, You're not gonna go in with a knife, you're gonna go in with a gun if you have a gun.
Okay. We need to wrap this one up. Okay. We're gonna have to go through our third argument.